I am no stranger to an insane, off-the-wall horror comedy. Just ask anybody who is remotely familiar with my channel. But up to this point, most of the off-the-wall insane horror comedies that I have talked about have come from Japan. Until today, and we're about to find out if Austria can actually give Japan a run for its money. But if you don't know anything about Attack of the Lederhosen zombies from 2016, let me quickly fill you in. Attack of the Lederhosen zombies from 2016 is a zombie horror comedy. Steve, a young professional snowboarder, ruins a high-paying photo shoot with a silly prank, causing himself, his girlfriend, and a fellow snowboarder Josh to be left behind on the mountain. They seek shelter in a garish, loud après-ski tavern that is hosting an all-night party for the last night of the season. Things go from bad to worse when a scientific experiment conducted by a local entrepreneur unleashes an epidemic of zombies and mutant wildlife on the Austrian Alps. If you're new here, I go by Hordes, and if you're not new, welcome back. I talk about horror movies here on my channel on Mondays and Fridays, but as always when it comes to watching movies that I've never seen before, I am now going to go and watch Attack of the Lederhosen zombies off camera. So that way, if you two decide that you want to watch this movie about zombies and snowboarders in the Austrian Alps, nothing will be spoiled for you, because nobody wants to watch a movie that you've just watched somebody else watch from start to finish, and I keep it spoiler free here on my channel because nobody, and I mean nobody, likes spoilers. I'm not sure what I was expecting from Attack of the Lederhosen zombies, in all honesty. More Lederhosen would be my first guess though. The plot for this one feels like a hybrid. It feels like if you took an American teen comedy from the early 2000s, think when everything was trying to ride the coattails of American Pie, and a horror comedy that is heavily reliant on the stereotypes of Austrians and Americans. So yes, the Americans in this are the dumb tourist kind, and the Austrians are the evil genius megaminds, I guess, who really like to drink. But does Attack of the Lederhosen zombies actually do anything new and original within the zombie subgenre? And to that I have to say no, unfortunately, and this makes it incredibly predictable. And there's a lot of scenes in this where if you have seen any number of zombie movies, you have seen half of this movie done in other ways probably better than how it's been done in Attack of the Lederhosen zombies, and I hate to say that. The setup for this, like the whole concept, could have been way more wacky and out there than there was. And as you can probably guess from what I said maybe a couple of minutes ago at this point, where was the Lederhosen in this? The only person that is wearing Lederhosen is the lady that runs the bar, who I will get to in just a minute. The thing though that does help Attack of the Lederhosen zombies stand out is that snowy ski resort kind of thing, but at the same time it simultaneously reminds me of the movie Frozen from 2010, you know, the one about the snowboarders slash skiers that are stuck on a ski lift, because believe it or not, this movie also has a scene with two snowboarders on a ski lift.
Different, but same.
The acting is very mid, like it is not terrible, but it is nothing exceptional either, and it's one of those where certain characters are certainly better than others. And the standout in this entire movie is Rita, and Rita is the lady that runs the bar. She's probably late 50s, early 60s, and will do absolutely anything to defend her bar against chaos and invasion. She is more deadly than any of the zombies in this. Like, what this woman can do with ski poles, like, no. Ski poles and a snowblower, like, no, I wouldn't want to fight Rita.
I'm not gonna fight you.
Come on.
The humour in this is going to be very hit or miss, depending on your own personal sense of humour, and I will say for me, the verbal humour in this didn't work at all, but the physical humour in this was great. And without going into spoilers, there is a gag that involves a zombie, two ski poles, and a trapdoor, and it would only work in this particular setting, and it is such a simple but well thought out gag. Like, I have to give it credit. And the scene with the dancing, like, again, no spoilers, but that scene just provides a little bit of like comic relief amongst the chaos before the full-blown chaos actually kicks in. The deaths and the kills in this, though, are the actual highlight for me because they are bloody, they are gory, and the weapons that have been used in this are great because you have to remember, this movie is set in a ski resort in a bar that's about halfway up a mountain, so the weapons that they've got on hand are not your conventional kind of weapons. And I love when a zombie movie, or any movie that's like, you need to now arm yourself up to the nines and get ready for a fight, decides to go for like non-conventional kind of weaponry and gets creative with it. And that is what this does, so I have to give credit for that. And there is an action sequence that takes place at the hour mark, which absolutely makes this movie worthwhile because, dear God, do I not want to fight Rita, like I said earlier on.
Hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me!
I have no issues with the practical effects or the animatronics in this because all the wildlife is actually done using animatronics. I am prepared to let a horror comedy get away with a little bit more when it comes to its practical effects, because if it's not taking itself too seriously, why would it suddenly get serious with its practical effects? And in the case of a horror comedy, if you want to give me like fire hydrant levels of blood, which are so unrealistic, I'm going to let you get away with it just because that's your subgenre. And that is what Attack of the Lederhosen Zombies is. It is full on, somebody gets chopped in half and sprays of blood go absolutely everywhere. And I am okay with this. The deers with the green LED eyeballs, I'm also allowed to let them get away with it. Again, because it's a horror comedy. The green slime sick stuff that turns the people into zombies in the beginning, again, I'll let you get away with it being like day-glow green because of your subgenre. If you were a serious horror movie though, I'd have questions. This movie is very snappy at 1 hour and 14 minutes. And at one point, I paused this movie to go and get another cup of tea. Yes, I know, very British of me. And found out that I only had about 10-15 minutes to go of this entire movie. But because it is so snappy and it's incredibly short in its runtime, I have to bring up the ending of this movie because the ending is very open and it is not something that I like in a sort of zombie or end of the world movie. Like, unless you have a sequel that has already been greenlit, I want at least some of your loose ends to be tied up. Doesn't have to be a neat little bow, but I at least want some kind of bow that says to me, this is the end of this person's story within a much bigger story.
Bang! Fade out. Roll credits.
In the end, I am actually going to give Attack of the Lederhosen Zombies from 2016 a 2.5 out of 5 stars because yes, there were equal things that I liked and disliked about this movie, but I have to point this out and it was not worth an entire section on. There is yodeling in the soundtrack, which it's great. If you need a reminder of where this movie is set, there you go. But my opinion isn't the only one that matters, and this begs the question, should you personally watch Attack of the Lederhosen Zombies if you are a fan of horror comedies, zombies, gross out horror, sarcasm, gory deaths, loads of blood, anything that's listed here, or if you are a fan of the movie Black Sheep, then yes, you will absolutely be the sort of person that gets some kind of enjoyment out of Attack of the Lederhosen Zombies. So there you have it, my initial thoughts and my review for my first time watching Attack of the Lederhosen Zombies from 2016. If you've also seen this movie, I would love to know what your thoughts and opinions are on it down in the comment section down below. And if you are interested in watching this one, I will leave a link to justwatch.com in my description bar, like I always do, where you can find out where this movie is streaming in your country. If you would like to know where else you can find me though, I am also over on Instagram and Letterboxd at HordesOfHorror, where I've watched over 180 horror movies just this year. So there is plenty that I haven't spoken about right here on YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, I'll be back on Friday with another solo movie review, and I have no idea what it's going to be at this point, so you'll have to tune back in to find out then. So until next time, bye.